Hey guys, what is going on? Welcome back to my channel. So as a new player, I believe most of you must be wondering which characters or which superheroes they are worthy to be built up even without any of the uniform investment, especially if you're a new player, especially if you're about to start playing this game. So today I'm going to share with you my top 10 list of the best free-to-play superheroes that is currently available in Marvel Future Fight. Now please keep in mind that this top 10 list I'm going to do the same thing as what I did in my previous video. So I won't be including those Crystal War characters like Iceman or those paywall characters like Spider-Man 2099. And I won't be including those tier 3 characters, awakened characters or those native tier 2 superheroes like Scarlet Witch or Quicksilver. Even though they are free to play friendly, they cost a bunch of resources. And I just wanted to focus on those characters that you can farm easily from the Dimension Mission, the Epic Quest, the Shadowland Selector or the Bio Selector that you can get from any of the check-in events. So basically what I'm going to do here is to rank those characters accordingly from number 10 to number 1 based on their power level, based on their usefulness, and it is also based on how frequent you are going to use this character in the current state of the game. And please keep in mind that this top 10 list is just based on my personal opinion and these are based on my personal evaluation. Alright, so without any further ado, let's get right into it. So number 10 is actually going to be Fantimax. So first of all, he is not bad as a standalone character for Shadowland, and he is also usable in some of the low level of World Boss Ultimate and Alliance Conquest. Multiple iframes to protect him and he has some of the healing from his passive with some of the extra attack buff from some of his skill set, which is very nice. You can actually unlock Fantimax and get his bios through the X-Force Epic Quest, as you can see right over here. Yeah, he is actually quite solid in PvE and he can do a little bit in PvP as well, even without any of the uniform investment. Moving on to number 9 is actually going to be the Wasp. Now please keep in mind that she is not the damage killer, she is kind of like the support character for PvP to be specific. So those things like Timeline Battle and Alliance Conquest, you are going to use her pretty much for the remove all debuff from her passive, which is very useful especially against those characters that have time freeze ability like Doctor Strange or the webbing ability like Spider-Man. In other words, once you have Wasps in your PvP team, basically your enemy can't take any of the debuff advantage. And that's why Wasps is so important for PvP. And you know what? She actually has a very good leadership. So you can actually set her as a leader so that you can get the extra all attack and the remove all debuff for your team, which is even better. And that's why she's deserving to be on this top 10 list. Moving on to number 8 is actually going to be Ancient one of the best support character in the game right now. He has a very good leadership, which is a 45% increase of energy attack. However, it only applies to blast type of characters, so you're gonna utilize his leadership in pretty much all the PvE game mode. For example, you can actually set him as a leader to team up with either Doctor Strange, Professor X or Cable or even Iron Man for the Extreme Alliance battle. The Blast Mill ABX Day to be specific. Any of the blast type of character will benefit from his leadership, which is very nice. Other than that, he has a very good healing ability and he has a very good tier 2 passive, and the great thing about this is all of them are applying to all allies, which is fantastic. So he's gonna be useful in all the game mode, PvE and PvP as a support and as a leader. So he definitely deserves to be on this position. Number 7 is actually going to be the combination of Iron Man and the God of Thunder, which is Iron Hammer. He has a very good tier 2 self passive, he has a healing, he has a immunity, he has a all defense now, and in addition to his great leadership, which makes him usable in both PvE and PvP. He can do some of the Ebony World Boss Ultimate, he can do Shadowland, and he's going to be quite useful in Alliance Conquest and some of the low level of Timeline Battle. Other than that, this Natural Resistances passive is gonna be very useful especially against those lightning characters like Thor, Storm or Blue Dragon, because he's gonna be 100% chance immune to lightning damage, which is pretty insane. Overall, he can be built up as a two-way character, so he definitely deserves to be on this top 10 list. Moving on, we have Warpath for the number 6 spot. First of all, he is a PvE character. He can do some of the mid-level of World Boss Ultimate and Shadowland. However, he's not gonna do anything for you in PvP like Iron Hammer. But in terms of damage, he's far better than Iron Hammer. He can do way higher stages than him, and that's why I rank Warpath a little bit higher. He has a very good tier 2 self passive, he has an immunity from his 3rd skill, and he also has that all defense up from his 3rd skill and from his 5th skill as well, and that's why he can do a lot better in World Boss Ultimate if you combine him with Dr. Voodoo's leadership. Overall, he is quite solid as a PvE character, one of the best free combat characters in the game. Decent damage, survivability is okay, and the great thing about this is he doesn't even need a uniform to be here, so he definitely deserves to be on this position. Moving on to number 5 is actually going to be Big Shot. Same as Warpath, he is a PvE character, he can do World Boss, he can do Shadowland, he can do almost what Warpath does, but the only thing that actually makes Big Shot a little bit better is actually going to be his leadership. Yeah, a very good leadership, the 24% increase of energy attack, and in addition to the damage reduction, which makes him a little bit usable in some of the PvP content, and that's why I would rank him above Warpath. Next up, we got this big guy, Gorilla Man, for the number 4 spot. Very good as a standalone character in PvE content, and he has some of the value in PvP as well. Decent amount of damage, and in addition to his great survivability, he has a 50% increase of HP from his passive, and he also has that recovery of max HP from his 3rd skill, which makes him even more solid in both PvE and PvP content. In terms of damage and survivability, he's definitely doing much better than Big Shot and Warpath, and that's why he's deserving to be on the number 4 spot. Moving on to number 3 is gonna be Human Torch, another great superhero even without his uniform. In my opinion, his uniform doesn't really make a lot of difference, and that's why I didn't purchase his latest uniform, as you can see right over here. But anyways, he can still do some of the crazy stuff with his base kit, which is fantastic. He's gonna be very useful in World Boss Ultimate, especially against Ebony Maw. Around stage 50 to stage 60 shouldn't be a problem for this guy. And in addition to the fact that he can actually do some of the high level of Shadowland even without any of the CTP. He's just that powerful, decent damage and great survivability, and the good thing about this character is he is a fire damage character, which is very unique, so he definitely deserves to be on this spot. Number 2 is actually going to be this guy, Angel. Oh, sorry. Excuse me, this is Darkhawk. Now I know you must be thinking that is Darkhawk really doing better than Human Torch? Yes, the answer is yes. In terms of damage, he is doing far better than Human Torch. He can do around stage 60 to stage 65 Cold War's World Boss Ultimate even without any of the CTP. And he can actually solo Master Mode if you have seen one of my previous video about Darkhawk against Master Mode. And in addition to the fact that he can actually do some of the high level of Shadowland, which is fantastic. Overall, he is a PvE character, multiple iframe to protect him, great survivability, very safe to play, and he has a very good damage even without any of the CTP. Number 1, the champion is gonna be Scarlet Spider. Yeah, the only free-to-play character that can execute the one-shot method in World Boss Ultimate even without any of the uniform needed or level 70 or even a CTP of Rage. Level 60 and the CTP of Energy is more than enough. He can one-shot at least 4 Infinity World bosses with this build, as what we have seen in our previous video about Scarlet Spider, and we'll make sure to include that link in the description below of this video in case you're looking for that. So yeah, Scarlet Spider has a decent amount of damage. Of course, his survivability is not that great, but his damage is really that powerful. He can easily clear the stage 32 where you fight against those spiders in Shadowland, and of course with the right build, he can solo both Master Mode and Galactus easily. Overall, he is a PvE all-rounder character, so Scarlet Spider should always be your number 1 choice when it comes to building up the best free-to-play friendly superhero. Alright guys, so that's all for the top 10 list, and please keep in mind that this list only includes those free-to-play superheroes, and all of them only can be built up to tier 2, no native tier 2, no tier 3, no awakened characters, no paywall characters, and last but not least, no crystal wall characters. And again, this top 10 list is just based on my personal opinion, so I hope you guys enjoy the content, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel and hit the bell, and thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next video. Take care.